Every truly great offensive engine in basketball needs one very specific thing to reach its absolute peak. Not just shooters, not just defenders, but a particular kind of partner who makes everything run smoother. And for a player like Luka Doncic, the holy grail isn't just any big man, it's one who can do far more than dunk lobs. A center who can pass, who can read the floor, who can think the game at an elite level, and who can serve as a genuine second hub for the entire offense to flow through. And tonight on the show, Shams Charania said something that made me sit straight up, because he connected exactly that kind of player, a three-time All-Star big man, to the Los Angeles Lakers. So stay with me, Lakers fans, because this could be the move that unlocks the entire Luka era, and the reason this player is available is a story in itself. Here's what Shams said: cutting right through the noise. According to sources, the Los Angeles Lakers have shown real interest in a trade for Sacramento Kings center Domantas Sabonis. The three-time All-Star, one of the best rebounding and passing big men in the entire NBA, potentially coming to Los Angeles to give Luka Doncic the perfect frontcourt partner, Domantas Sabonis, in the purple and gold. Read that again and let it sink in, because if you understand why he might be available, and you understand exactly what Luka Doncic needs to take this entire team to the next level, you understand why this could be one of the smartest, most perfectly fitting moves of the entire offseason. And I'm here to walk you through how a player this good ended up potentially on the market, because it's a fascinating situation. Now, I already know some of you are going to bring up his defense and his recent injury, and we're going to get to all of it, I promise, because I always give you the honest version. But stay with me, because the offensive fit here is just about perfect. Let me start with how Domantas Sabonis could even become available, because this is the key to the whole thing. Sabonis has been the cornerstone of the Kings, an all-star big man who anchored their offense for years. But the Kings have fallen on hard times. They were one of the worst teams in the league this past season, and the franchise is at a crossroads, looking to reset and rebuild, and reporting around the league has been remarkably clear on this. NBA executives expect Sacramento to make Sabonis available this summer, with the Kings specifically looking to shed some significant salary off their books as they retool and rebuild for the future. So you've got a struggling rebuilding team motivated to move a high-priced veteran off its books, and a three-time All-Star who has himself expressed some real uncertainty about his future with the franchise. That combination is exactly how a quality starting big man becomes available. That right there is the crack in the door, and it is wide open. So now let me tell you exactly who Domantas Sabonis is, because this is the part that should get you excited. Domantas Sabonis is flat out one of the best offensive big men in the entire NBA. He's a three-time All-Star and a multiple-time All-NBA player. He has led the league in rebounding multiple times. He's a relentless presence on the glass. And most importantly, he is one of the very best passing big men in the entire sport. And that last part, the passing, is the real key to everything. Sabonis isn't just a finisher. He's a hub, a player who can operate from the elbow and the post, who can orchestrate an offense, who racks up assists at a rate almost unheard of for a center. He's the rare kind of big man who genuinely makes everyone around him better, who turns good shooters into great ones and lifts an entire offense just by being on the floor. He's also a relentless double-double machine, a virtually guaranteed source of points and rebounds every single night, the kind of nightly production you can set your watch to. When healthy, he's one of the most productive and skilled big men in basketball, and that skill set is exactly what a team built around a ball-dominant genius could use. So now let's talk about why this fits Luka Doncic so perfectly, because this is the heart of it, and it's beautiful. But first, let me make sure you really grasp how rare his skill set is, because it's the whole point. There are plenty of big men in the NBA who can score, rebound, and protect the rim. There are very, very few who can genuinely orchestrate an offense from the center position. Sabonis is one of those rare unicorns. He has led the entire league in rebounding multiple times. He has been one of the most efficient scorers in basketball, and he routinely posts assist numbers that would be impressive for a starting point guard, let alone a center. He's the engine of the best version of the dribble handoff offense, a player whose hands, vision, and feel for the game let him function as a quarterback in the middle of the floor. That combination, elite rebounding, elite efficiency, and elite passing all in one 7-footer simply does not grow on trees. When a player with that exact profile becomes available, every smart offensive mind in the league should be paying very close attention, because skills like his are nearly impossible to replace. Here's the thing about building around Luka. He is one of the greatest offensive engines the game has ever seen. A player who controls the ball, reads the defense, and orchestrates everything. And the perfect frontcourt partner for a player like that is not just a rim-running dunker. It's a big man who can think the game alongside him, who can catch the ball in the short roll and make the right read, who can operate as a second playmaking hub so the offense doesn't grind to a halt when Luka rests or when a defense keys on him. And that is the precise description of Domantas Sabonis. Imagine the two-man game between Luka and Sabonis, two of the very highest IQ offensive players in the entire league, running pick and roll, dribble handoffs, high-low actions, and counters off of counters that most defenses simply won't be able to keep up with. Imagine Sabonis setting bruising, defense-bending screens, rolling hard to the rim, and then, the instant the defense collapses on Luka, calmly making the smart pass for an easy bucket at the basket or a wide-open three. And when Luka sits, Sabonis can run the offense from the elbow himself, keeping the Lakers humming. He also single-handedly solves a huge need on the glass, giving the Lakers an elite, league-leading rebounder to clean up the defensive boards, end possessions, and immediately trigger the fast break with that outlet passing. On the offensive end, this is about as clean a fit as you could possibly design for Luka. And let me go one layer deeper on that geometry because it's what makes this so special. The problem teams run into with a ball-dominant genius like Luka is that everyone else can become a spectator, standing around watching him work. The offense lives and dies with the ball in his hands, and when he sits or gets swarmed, it can grind to a halt. A playmaking big fixes that completely. With Sabonis, you can run the offense through the elbow, letting him handle and distribute while Luka works off the ball as a cutter and a spot-up threat, a look almost no defense is prepared for, because they spend all their energy game planning for Luka with the ball. You get dribble handoffs where Luka comes flying off Sabonis' shoulder. You get high-low actions, give and goes, and second-side creation that keeps the ball humming. And crucially, in the minutes Luka rests, the offense doesn't collapse because Sabonis can run it himself. Two elite brains, two creation hubs, constantly forcing the defense to make impossible choices. That's not just adding a good player next to Luka, that's adding a second offensive engine, and it's the kind of thing that can turn a very good offense into a historically great one. So now let's talk about how this would actually work, because the money is the key, and there's a real path. Sabonis is owed a significant salary, north of $45 million next season. To trade for him, the Lakers would have to match that, likely building a package around significant outgoing salary and some draft assets. But here's what helps. The Kings are reportedly motivated specifically to shed salary as they rebuild, which means they may not demand a massive haul of premium picks in return. They might well prioritize simply taking back a more manageable contract and getting off Sabonis' money, rather than holding out for a mountain of premium draft picks. That dynamic makes the asset cost potentially very reasonable for the Lakers. It would still be a significant, complicated, franchise-altering trade, no question about it, but a motivated seller looking to cut salary is exactly the kind of trade partner that makes a deal for a player this good actually possible. But I told you I'd be honest with you, so let's take the doubts head on, because on this one, they are real. The first objection is the defense. Sabonis is not an elite rim protector, and pairing him with Luka, who has his own defensive questions, raises legitimate concerns about the Lakers' interior defense. That's a fair, real concern, and I won't wave it away. But here's the counter. The Lakers would need to build the rest of the roster with that in mind, surrounding the pair with rangy, switchable perimeter defenders and rim protection where possible. And the offensive ceiling that a Luka-Sabonis pairing creates is so absurdly high that, with the right complementary pieces around them, it's a trade-off a serious contender can absolutely manage. His elite rebounding also helps end defensive possessions by securing the ball, which matters more than people give it credit for. You can't give up second chances if you grab every miss. Defense is a concern, not a disqualifier. The second objection is the recent injury. Sabonis is coming off a season that was cut short by a knee injury, so there's a fair question about his health and whether he can return to his all-star form. Legitimate. But a healthy Sabonis has been one of the most durable, productive bigs in the league for years, and one injury-shortened season doesn't erase that track record. If anything, that injury-shortened season might be a big part of why he's available at a reasonable price at all, suppressing his trade value to a level a contender can actually stomach. Betting on a proven, 3-time All-Star to bounce back from a single injury is a perfectly reasonable bet. The third objection is whether he's the exact right archetype, since some will argue Luka needs a rim-running lob threat and rim protector more than a playmaking hub. It's a fair debate, but elite offensive talent that complements your superstar's brain is never a bad thing, and Sabonis' passing and screening unlock a different higher level of offense. You can address rim protection elsewhere, through free agency, the draft, or a complementary backup center. You simply cannot easily find a big man who thinks the game at this level, who passes like a point guard and rebounds like a monster. Those players are essentially irreplaceable, and let me put this in the context of what the Lakers are actually chasing, because it raises the stakes. The Western Conference is a brutal gauntlet, loaded with elite teams and elite big men, the kind of conference where you cannot survive 4 rounds with a one-dimensional roster. When you have a generational offensive engine like Luka in his prime, you have a sacred obligation to maximize that window to build a genuine championship caliber roster around him while he's at his peak. And the cleanest way to elevate an offense from very good to truly unstoppable is to give the engine a partner who amplifies him rather than just standing next to him. A playmaking, rebounding hub like Sabonis does exactly that, and in a conference where every possession in a playoff series is a chess match, having 2 players who can read and manipulate a defense is an enormous edge. Passing on a fit this clean, when it might actually be available, would be the kind of missed opportunity a franchise with the Lakers' standards simply cannot afford. So let me tell you where my head is at, and then I've got one final thought that I think is the real key to all of this. If the Lakers pull this off, they give Luka Doncic the ideal offensive front court partner, a brilliant passing big who can run 2-man actions, operate as a second hub, dominate the glass, and keep the offense flowing in every minute. Picture it, Luka and Sabonis carving up defenses with high IQ, 2-man basketball all night long, the Lakers boasting one of the most cerebral, fluid, and downright unstoppable offenses in the entire league. Whether it ultimately wins a title comes down to building the defense correctly around that offensive core, and that's the real fair debate. But the offensive fit is just about perfect, and with a motivated seller, the price could be right. And here's the thought I want to leave you with, the part almost nobody is connecting. The smartest front offices don't just add talent, they add the right talent, the pieces that specifically amplify the superstar they're building around. A generic good player is fine, but a player whose exact skill set unlocks a new dimension in your franchise cornerstone, that's how you build a champion. Luka Doncic's game calls out for a high IQ, playmaking big who can be a second brain for the offense, and Domantas Sabonis is one of the very few players on earth who fits that description, now potentially available because a rebuilding team wants to shed salary. When a player who fits your superstar that precisely becomes available at a reasonable price, the smart teams pounce. The Lakers, with Luka in his prime and a clear need, are exactly the kind of team that should. And the opportunity, rare as it is sitting right there. So let me boil it all the way down for you because I want this crystal clear. A generational offensive engine in Luka who specifically needs a high IQ playmaking partner to amplify him and keep the offense flowing. A 3-time All-Star big man who is one of the few players on earth with that exact skill set, elite passing, elite rebounding, elite efficiency. And a motivated rebuilding seller in Sacramento looking to shed salary, which keeps the asset price reasonable. The defense and the recent injury are real questions, and I won't dismiss them, but you can address rim protection elsewhere on the roster. You cannot easily find a 7-footer who thinks the game the way Sabonis does, and who fits your superstar's brain this precisely. When the right talent, the right fit, and a motivated seller all line up at once, the smart teams don't hesitate. They make the call. I'm not telling you it's signed. I have no reporting that says the ink is dry, and I am never going to make something up for you, because the only reason you keep coming back to me is that I shoot you straight, even when the honest version includes real concerns about his defense and his health. Those concerns are real. But I am telling you, the talent is real. The offensive fit with Luka is just about perfect. The seller is motivated, and an elite passing big man is exactly what this team's engine has been missing. And tonight, Shams Charania put the Lakers right into the middle of that conversation, live on national television. You stack all of that up, the fit and the value and the way Sabonis' brain meshes with Luka's, and you can feel it, can't you? This one would just make sense. So here's what I need from you. Keep your phone close over the next few weeks, because once a rebuilding team gets serious about shedding salary, these deals can come together quickly. Remember where you were when you heard this, because if it happens, you'll want to remember the night the Lakers quietly found Luka his perfect frontcourt partner and unlocked a whole new level of their offense. And tell me down below, do you do it? If you're the Lakers, do you make the trade for a 3-time All-Star playmaking big to pair with Luka's genius? Or do you decide the defensive concerns and the health questions are too risky and instead chase a more traditional rim-running, shot-blocking center? I really want to hear it, because this is exactly the kind of fit-over-everything swing that can quietly define a championship era.